and we'll see who's here, awaiting the evening in the holodeck. So I'll just switch this to live chat. Everything is running a bit slower tonight. Not sure why. I've refreshed the computer, but it is still running just a bit slow. So who's here? Gandalf, Franco Walker, Treasure Bloke, Rifleman, Top Smoke is an advert for organic food. How delicious. Lovely. An unskippable advert, no less. So let's begin. Let's wait for this poxy advert to run out. Fake doctor advert. Yes. Hi, I'm Dr. Random Name and... this is where I shop all the time. I don't believe you. Almost all the food is organic indeed, except the petrochemical food. That's not organic. Actually, petrochemical distillates, everything's organic. It's all from the earth. It's just a bit strange. Anyway, how are you tonight? Fucking annoying sing-song advert. Yes. Hats off the king. Oh, yeah, there we go. There we go. That's what the first Jacobean is to be. To His Royal Highness King Charles. Actually, I've always liked Prince Charles. Now he's King Charles, obviously. King Charles. I'm not going to waste my time watching all that pomp and ceremony, though. This is when YouTube is more or less pomp and ceremony free. I should have called this stream the royalty-free stream. Oh, and ultraviolet, of course. Ultraviolet, sterilize, purge all the royalist stuff out of you. And all the bacteria and things like that. Scanning. Oh, talking of which, I just received another ultraviolet light. Black light blue, 25 watt. Thank you, Matt England. Much appreciated. King Savile the Pedo King. Yes, indeed. Lovely new ultraviolet lamp. Arrived well packed. Plugged it in, doesn't work. The seller, who's a typical British, not Chinese seller, wants me to send it back so they can test it themselves because they don't trust me. And that's a bit of an inconvenience. Fitting into post office hours. Very annoying. That is true. Make sure you're live. The little dot down here, the little red dot in your progress bar is lit, so we're not along there and you're at the beginning of the stream. I don't know if that's been happening recently. The badge isn't on, George Philbot. I did consider putting the badge on, but I haven't put the badge on. Not yet. I might do that now. I could pin it on, or I could just use this magnet to hold it in place, which I usually do. It's notable that in the recent video, when I've done this sort of like got the different audience, the redistillation of cider videos, people have been asking where these little badges come from. So I've been providing a link to Mouse's Etsy store. I've also had to put the word illegal into don't finger flick the cat. The moustache is off because it was getting a wee bit annoying, so it'll grow back in again. So I've had to put the word illegal back into the filter for all the Karens going, that's illegal, you're not allowed to do that. And the one person who said, well, I think you're going to get a very strongly worded letter. Oh, wow. Maybe from the king himself. Dear Clive, stop redistilling pre-purchased liquor. What was the Berk with the Bud Light? What? The Berk with the Bud Light. The authorities. You keep being obedient. Spell in jail's probably what I need anyway. Does Hutchie like the what? Does Hutch like your moustache, little Hutchie the cat? I don't know if Hutchie's even into... Hutchie likes the snacks she gets given. She likes a little bit of petting, but not too much petting. Greetings, Techno Pro. J the strongly word, aka J the strongly worded letter. Oh, J, yes. Any orange stuff? No. Angry from Mayfair. I'm outraged. And that was a Kenny Everett character, I believe. I'm very used to strongly worded letters from the TV licensing, so they just don't have an effect anymore. They've not sent one in ages since someone submitted my details on my behalf to the authorities and probably gave them my personal information as well, which isn't so keen. Did you see the Karen that the guard shoved? Yeah. Oh, they're everywhere. Orange power bank for the supercomputer. It is being powered by the orange power bank up here. What happened? Did you get in trouble again? Not yet. I'm sure someone will be sending lovely letters though, probably. Yeah, the gassing up the Frosty Jack, you'd be surprised. What's the most recent video I've done? That was done at something like 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. Don't know. I get to bed late. Isn't Karen locked up this week? Has she gone to jail? I don't think so. That was horrible, the David Savary video showing that complete nutcase. She has mental health issues. It's not just a Karen. With pink highlighters, indeed. Like, that have been used with such force the paper has torn as they got dragged across it. In an ungodly hour. If you recombine the Frosty Jack, yes, it was flat, but it tasted the same once it was put back together. The same more or less happened with the other things as well. It reconstituted them and they were put back together again. The UVC mini tube also generates ozone into the toilet bowl, then it turns off bungee skunk. The little ultraviolet toilet sanitizers. Not convinced they do much. They have as much effect as these things like the adverts that show women in their pink rubber gloves squirting bleach all over the toilet and then a small child running up and handling the toilet rim. And it's like, yes. I hope you bought him a coffee for that, Adrian calls. What? I have a question to ask Big Clive. Do they use startup capacitors for fluorescent lights and for startup motors, New Rock Boy? In the case of fluorescent lights, they're normally power factor correction in older fittings. The motors, usually it's to induce a phase shift to actually give rotation to a single phase motor. But also it's used for power factor correction. For those who don't know, David Savary, the electrical channel, put up a video where he got asked to do some work in a lady's house and she was just mentally not right. And in the end, every fault after that, she seemed to be claiming it was his fault because he'd touched the wiring. And then when he went to finally thought, oh shit, I suppose I better go out again. She tried to hold his equipment, like his meters, to ransom. And then the police got involved and she's screaming. Oh, it was horrible. Oh, David Savary has buy me a coffee rather than Patreon. That's reasonable enough. That video was squirmy. I'd had to stop watching it, Connor. It's just, that was really horrible. Could I say happy birthday to Joanne in Stornoway? Indeed. So Joanne in Stornoway, happy birthday. That's from Alex Mack. Rifleman, the electrician just plugged up my pipes. Is that a sexual reference? Thank you, Slonik. Much appreciated. Let her try that again to see if it was not a fluke. I think it was a fluke. I'm not really sure, Kerry. Shorter load this week. Well, yes, Arthur Trushedge Jackson. It's an important thing to do. John Ward. I'm not sure how John Ward have taken it, Brian Cox. Maybe that's a great video series. Inviting YouTube electricians to the house and having an actress be a complete Karen on them. She gets arrested at the end of the video, she does, but I don't think she gets taken in. I'm not really sure. Nigel was the calmest there. David was not keeping his calm. John. Billy, she got arrested. Very strange. You are in time, Nigel Gunn. Have you done any bagpiping? No. John Ward had taken into the garden, it's only a welder. It'd need to be a microwave transform to deal with that. Talking of which, talking of microwave transform, now I've just actually forgotten what I was talking about. I was distracted by something else there. All I'm getting from this is when the mention of bagpipes is waking up, doing night shift and waking up and really like in the middle of the night to me by bagpipers marching up and down outside my bedroom fucking window in the accommodation. Very annoying. We stopped that for obvious reasons. Practicing your bagpipes at the accommodation is not acceptable. Go out in the street and do it and people will throw money at you. You can melt metal in a microwave, hand picture, but it tends to not be great for the microwave. You can also melt glass in the microwave, but you have to get it up to a very high temperature to start off with, because once it becomes molten, it becomes conductive. When was the last time I had a Scotch egg? A while ago. I've not had one recently. Did I watch Coronation? No. Has it happened? I couldn't honestly tell you. I don't give a shit. I just looked at George Square there to see what's the weather like in Glasgow at the moment. It was amazing seeing the sea of the Union Jacks everywhere. No, there weren't any. Not one. It's pomp and ceremony. It's the equivalent of us watching the whatever they do to the American president, the inauguration of the American. I don't know what they call it. Not really bothered in that. It was pissing down. Oh no, did it rain the parade? Lieutenant Colonel panics. Something makes me feel smug about that. Except when you're working a job like that and all the electrics are getting progressively wetter. I did miss the coronation. Is it coronation chicken? To be fair, we're bloody good at pomp and ceremony. Yes, Penry. Luck watch, it was on TV here all morning. I don't watch TV. King has no power, though president does. We don't have a president here. We have a prime minister, and to be honest, the king is pretty powerless here. It's all done in his name, His Majesty's Revenue and Customs. It's nothing. I don't even think the government controls that now. I think it's just an entity that has become its own thing, inventing taxes for maximum revenue. It'd be very interesting. Seeing an expose of the managing directors, because I treat it as a company, of the HMRC and their other business interests and how much money they pocket from the tax that is collected. That would be very interesting. I wonder if they do their best to remove the information like that from the internet. Cambridge HMRC seem to set their own rules, as I'm currently experiencing. When I phoned about complications, when I first moved to the Isle of Man about tax, the person in the UK in the tax office said, "Oh, I don't really know the answer to that." And I said, "Is there someone I could speak to?" And he said, "No, there's not. The best thing to do if you really feel that, just pay tax on it anyway. There's no harm just paying tax on it." No, and I ended up paying double tax in the UK and the Isle of Man for a while because it's a very incompetent system. Yes, but anyway, let's not go there. HMRC is it's perfect for Karens and narcissists. King Charlie's worth 600 million. Well, that's not that much. But we had to pay for his hat-wearing party. Well, to be honest, I bet King Charles didn't actually want that party. And to be honest, if you want a king, you're going to have to pay for it. So there you go. I'm taking the Charlie side here. 420 here. It's 420 here every week. Apart, not here personally, but all around the world. Apparently HMRC is PLC now. Is it a private company? God, it's Mr. Mulkey. Why don't they just merge it with the NIC, EIC, and all the other quacks? So that means if one of the inspectors comes round, you can actually refuse them access by saying, you know, you're just a private company and ban them from your premises. Lovely. I don't think they'd take that. Where's the hexputer? The hexputer is probably down there at the moment. It was getting a bit busy up on the shelf. I quite like the big computer. Yeah, Colin Timmins. Kings aren't free, you know. How did a German family become the British royal family? Oh, fuck no, it's China Earth Air Guns. I'm not into history either, as you may notice. Queen did a great job. I think Charles will do a good job of just being a figurehead. It's more sort of theatrical presentation. I've run out of coffee. It's time to get the beer out. One moment. Why is there hell? It's still a minority. It's just drama, fan planned. It's fake. No royal family or HMRC chat. Okay. That's the gay beer. Yes, it is the gay beer. Yes, China Earth Air Guns. It's totally gay. I'm feeling the gayness. I got the wrong can. I should have strategically got one that had the spout over here. And I'm going to have to turn like this so you can see the logo. It didn't carbonate. Did you see what time that was carbonated at? Oh no, that's not been released yet. Anyway, I did carbonate some Bud Light. It didn't go down. Didn't work very well. It made a bit of a mess. Don't drink it from the bottle either. Once it's been carbonated, it just comes out the nose, apparently. So, mystery gadget time. Patrons already know what this is. It's not had a video made about it yet. It's a module for your car. I should actually make sure it doesn't say anything obvious on it. Do not take off while working. Do not take off while working, it says. Just give us a second here. Yeah, okay, right, that's it. I can show you this side. And I can cover that and say, this is out of a Kia Sportage. Can you guess what it is? It is not an airbag controller. It is grey. That is correct. It is grey. It's not a xenon light module. Bye-bye, Technopro. It's ionizer. James K got it right. It is an ionizer. Well, kind of an ionizer. It's one of these ones. It's got two stainless steel sets of spikes. One has 6 spikes and the other has 3. I'm guessing this is the negative one with the 6, since it is the source of the electrons. But this is it's basically an ozonator K-panic. But it's one designed for use in car ventilation systems. You can also get them for Porsches, apparently, but the Porsche one was a lot more expensive. Much more expensive. This one, all the different cars use the same module, but the needle points between different models were different. One had a really solid sort of plasma cluster type needle, and another one had the carbon fiber brush forming electrodes. Smart, kill the mold in the AC, yes, Hand Pritchard, and possibly just to freshen the air up a bit. I don't know if it operates in the whole vehicle and just gently puts a very slight hint of active air molecules into the car. Probably costing the same price as too. The one for the Porsche, Steve, was £250 for the module. This was secondhand. This cost a tenner. The other one may have Porsche printed on it. Thank you, Will, 1985. Much appreciated. I can see a supercomputer badge through the beard, which means his chin doesn't go down that far. Yes. Good evening, John Payton. They're posh electrons. The Mercedes, the BMW, and the Porsche are all very posh electrons. They're very expensive. They're not ordinary electrons. If you buy one for a cheap car like a Lada, it's obviously not going to be the same. Yeah, the people who watched the Patreon stream knew the answer because they saw that in the Patreon stream and we opened it up. I smell ozone in the Ford Transit. Is it going to be from the air freshener? It could well be, but it shouldn't be high enough. It shouldn't be that strong smell. Massive poof smell, yes. That's the Porsche. £250 the Porsche, that's just the module. Gold-plated electrodes, indeed. Which makes it seems typical. How'd you lose your tooth? Nasty story of getting kicked in the head from all directions, Sea of Clay, but let's not go there. Two baby deer just walked through my back garden. That's called walking snacks, John Key. How many holodecks? Well, there's a lot of holodecks, but this is strictly on the one that is featured in the number, because so you know where to go for the party. That is a Mid-Journey image. Very impressive. I'm liking Mid-Journey a lot. I'm really surprised at the quality of the images it's turning out. It's ridiculous. I also see people selling word descriptions to create images. People just ride in the back of everything, don't they, for cash? Parasites. What happened to holodecks 1 through 1381? They're all full with other people. They've got loads of parties in them. Or maybe sporting events. Not really sure. You have to have lots of holodecks in the future. Andrew Edis, I lost my front teeth being kicked in the face too. It's a common thing. Well, holodecks do look the same. That's when they're empty. I'd like to see Mid-Journey create the garden in 3D and VR, so you can actually create the image and then walk through it. That'd be really nice. Literally, a garden, a virtual garden, a virtual environment that you can grab a drink and you can chill out in it and just be in that environment. You can just glide through it from your accommodation. He says parasites and used to sell homeopathic circuit boards, gas masher. You got something for your money then. I did not ride on other people. I didn't use other people's work to make money. I lost a toe kicking a guy in the face. Was it me or Kirk? I might have bitten it off. Had a farm burger for dinner, beef patty, chicken patty, turkey breast, bacon, cheese and onions. Sounds quite good. Any idea where to get tritium lights? Does eBay not still sell them? I want to try synthol. Synthol might be popular. Being able to drink and get pissed without a hangover. That would be quite good. What's the time, says Liz Edwards. That generally means it's time for fire. I shall use some more of this slightly stinky lavender juice. Lavender wiffle juice. It smells lavenderish at the moment. I've just got lavender on my fingers. Energize the ignition unit. And woofle. 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 Talking of woofling, the Patreon streamers were discovered part of Scruff Dog's past. Rough Dog used to put theatrical equipment up like I used to as well, installing all the rigging and structure for theatres, including the tabs, the curtains, which for MD who isn't aware of this, hanging curtains in a theatre is a heavy, heavy task. They weigh a lot, and they're fire retarded. Am I allowed to say retarded? They are coated with fire retardant. They're sprayed with a flame bar. LSD can bring in that world in a bit of an uncontrolled environment. Yes, Sea Dyke Mike. Only do one curtain at a time. Yes. Found any arc lights that operate great in 20 kilohertz? Those 18 kilohertz ones aren't quite high enough to avoid interfering with some of my things. Not really, Matt Hailshire, but they should only be operated briefly anyway. Hope there's no asbestos. Sadly, Carrie Severe, I have worked in a place that had an asbestos fire curtain, where it was and a lot of the lamp leads and the wiring in old theatrical fixtures were asbestos, and there was asbestos often between the walls as well. It was asbestos everywhere in theatres. It's not great. That's the one that I was fixing a problem with a continually failing belt on a curtain drive system, was it? And it was because the pulleys were really badly misaligned. So I realigned them up in a theatre, and then the guy said it's still an asbestos curtain. Do you want me to drop it? And I said, no, it's fine. I don't really want to drop the asbestos curtain in. They dropped it in anyway. It was a roll-up fabric asbestos curtain, and he just dropped it in. I think he was just saying, oh, look, yeah, breathe this in. I think he wanted to see my reaction. Not great. It had apparently been inspected, but, no. Just don't fucking use asbestos fire curtains. Have you lost your temper this week? Not really, no. Theatre had huge fire risks. They did, Rifleman. There are some pretty horrible stories in the early days. But that's one of the things that Scruff Dog used to do, is install the irons, the big, huge fire curtains. Although you've seen the curtain that comes down between performances or before the main performance sometimes, and it's got the ornate logos all over it. And it's not a curtain, it's actually physical steel, thick steel. And that flies in and out. Sometimes they do it just to demonstrate that it is there and working, but it isolates the stage from the audience, so if they have a fire on the stage, it won't spread out into the audience area. Also, there's a problem that the huge fly gallery is vented at the top, and it tends to create a high inrush of air. Can't extinguish asbestos. Butter-flavoured non-stick pan coat is incredibly flammable, says Nathan Shearer. It's basically propane and cooking oil. Could make a great woofler. They sell that here, the spray-on oil. I'm not sure. I think the oil would just make a huge mess, because WD-40 is basically solvent and oil, and it sprays some of it light, but the rest just goes everywhere. The film was highly flammable. The film is made of nitrocellulose, and if it went on fire, it did really go on fire quickly, particularly if it jammed in the projector, but it had systems to detect that and try and quench it. Can you curtains without thinking of Father Jack and Sticky Vicky? I'm not really sure, Brian Cox. Not really sure about that. Asbestos snow mist rag cake was popular. Fortunately, it was chrysotile. Phenotico, if you get a metal hot enough and put it into oil, it forms a coating that's sort of like a plastic fate. I'm naming it now, the annealing, the oil annealing of the metal. At school, partly because it was a shit teacher, when we did metalwork, we were told to make your angle bracket or whatever, and then put it in the tongs and quench it, but they said, don't hold it there. If you set the oil on fire, it'll just be hell to pay, and they just kept on drumming about it, to the point I was too scared to put it in the oil, so I just put it under the tap, and it just went for quite a long time. Still made lots of steam. Craig Matthews, know which courier actually delivers the global standard direct shipping GLC? I'm not really sure. I thought it was the standard Royal Mail. Usually quite a hard option to find. WD-40 is not fish oil, N1GRM. That is a myth. All projectors had shutters to extinguish fires in the nitrocellulose film. They did, Bob S. But I guess there must have been some that didn't have them. Have you been recognised the street this week? No, because I'm in the Isle of Man. Next week, maybe, because I'll be in Glasgow. To see what's going on in Glasgow. Fish oil is much more expensive, yes. Fish oil oxidizes readily. I haven't had my fish oil portion today that you're supposed to have. It doesn't work. Minky Mutu is here. Standard is raw meal. I think it is Evolution. I think that's who they do get it, but it's often hard finding. They try and hide that. If you select I think it's if you select the little tick box, show only duty paid ones, then you're not going to see the raw meal or something like that. I don't know, I've not used them in a while. One of them has joined Patreon and occasionally joins and then cancels and joins and cancels just to say, remember that GLC will supply you free circuit boards and stuff. And it's like, thank you, I'll keep that in mind. Not really interested. If I want circuit boards, I'll buy them myself so I don't feel under pressure to promote them and have their logo everywhere and do 1 minute sections or whatever it is they want. Not really sure. Will you still visit Glasgow after you sell it? Probably, yes, Rick Dashley, but more options. Might be Glasgow, might be Camden Town in London. Who knows? Evolution obviously starts as China Mail, very like to pay import charges. Could these days. They are putting the VAT on at source. How many Patreon members are there? I'm not sure the exact number at the moment. But not everybody goes in the Patreon live streams. I think it was about 150, which is quite high for Patreon live stream, but it's 6 chats per minute, chat comments, versus a very high chat rate here. Claudefish says I was born in Camden. It may not mean as much to you if you were born there, but I quite like visiting that place. My favourite bit of London, but I've not been there in a long time. When you order stuff from Alibaba or wherever, do you have to pay import fees? Some of them do, hand pictures. Some of them charge up front for the tax and others don't. And yes, Camden is nothing like it was. It's been very commercialised, Zadster. But, you know, it's still got a decent bit of character and it's still worth going to. Going into Camden Market is the closest you'll get to being in the set of Blade Runner. This phone didn't incur duty, which was really strange. I thought it would. The case for it, apparently got held by customs for 1 week, and then it got put into the mail system, and then the mail system held it for 2 weeks. Let's just say it as it was. Customs held on to it for 3 weeks, but just marked it as dispatched to mail after 1 week, just to avoid the fact that they were holding mail up significantly. Can you order tritium lights where you are? I don't know. Let me just go on eBay right now. eBay. And type in tritium. I thought tritium was a huge thing in America. Tritium dial watches. Let's try tritium keychain. Or keyring. Emergency glass luminous tube instead of... Oh no, that's fake. Instead of tritium gas tube. Oh, that's the ones that are filled with just the standard glow-in-the-dark pigment. That's not the same thing. Instead of tritium... oh yeah, it's all instead of tritium. Not convinced about these. No, I don't think... I think these are saying strontium illuminate, so they're obviously steering away from the tritium. Tritium is a gas. It's a radioactive isotope of hydrogen, James Speakman. If you put it in a tube with phosphor, it makes it glow for about 10 years, but not very brightly. Can I put my hand on a tritium keyring right now? One moment, please. No, I can't, because it is not where it should be. Blade Runner, Rachel. Indeed, Kerry Severe. Rachel's theme, I like that tune. Such a sad thing, she wasn't really aware she was a replicant. That film does give me the feels. Gone to the Great, my Doogie Thermophone arrived, very impressed, also got it through without extra duty. This is good. I will be releasing a video. I've made a video review of it, short summary. It's a flagship phone. It's for engineers. It's great. I love it. It's my main phone now. One slight thing, if you take a picture in the pitch black with flash, you get a slight bleed of the flash coming from the side, and it's not the case that's doing it. I think it might just be my phone, not really sure, but it's only in pitch black. And I might be a replicant, says Mr. Eggcake. Sometimes I feel like I'm a human replicant, yes. Like it's basically the whole no breeding just works shit, that you're just basically your whole life. I think Mother Nature is replicants, and that some of us might be replicants. Now there was Deckard. Was Deckard a replicant? How many electronic books do you own? None. Rick Radviz. Oh no, more chores. Oh no. Bye guys, sorry, gotta go. It's terrible world out there. Stay safe, keep yourself alive. I just tried to use a soldering iron that wasn't turned on. Any tips? Yes, Top Smoke. It's always disappointing, and then you've got to wait for it to heat up. Lock.2, thanks for being you and making these live streams. How's your brother doing? Ralphie is doing his usual self. Ralphie is being Ralphie. It's very distinctive. What you're drinking tonight, Clive, making me to... I'm drinking Bud Light, actually. It's very popular. Gay uncle theory. What's gay uncle theory? I'm going to have to look that up now in case it's something pedo or something like that. Hold on. Gay uncle theory. Gay uncle theory. The gay uncle hypothesis posts that people who themselves do not have children may nonetheless increase the prevalence of the family's genes of future generation by providing resources, food, to the offspring of their closest relatives. I could go with that. I think that some of us are just born to work. CameraTim.com, if you're doing major soldering jobs, you may find it better just to get a high power soldering iron that you don't use all the time, but you just use it whenever you need to do one of those big jobs. Big jobs. Are you looking for any cubs, Clive? No. DCN says I had a gay cousin. I think most people have a gay cousin. Some people have a gay brother or sister. Some people don't know that. And the brother or sister won't tell them because they're too scared. Crotty Robot, I had a gay uncle. He tried what? Gas soldering irons are good for power. They are, Simon Roll. I've always found gas soldering irons to be a bit flary, though. They tend to ramp up and down because of the... Well, first of all, if you set it to a particular flow of gas, as it evaporates, it cools the gas chamber and the pressure drops inside. So it's quite a volatile thing. It'd be nice to have one with proper regulation. Dan's adverts, my gay uncle was a hypnotist. He never touched me inappropriately. Mm-hmm. Yeah, friction welding's a bit specialist. Even if you don't know you have gay relatives, you do, Norm Swan. It's very common. It's more common than you'd think. It's just been quenched by the media. Lockdock 2, have you ever been to Isle of Man? It looks quite nice over there. Far different than here in California. I have been to Isle of Man, yes. It's quite nice. But I wouldn't want to live there all the time. John Payton, no. What do you call a lesbian dinosaur? Lickalotopus? No. Oh, talking of which, talking about dinosaurs and things bursting into flames that are dinosaur shaped, and then dragons, because that was attacked, closely related. I didn't realise that the another Disney dragon had burst into flames. What is it? Fantasia, Phantasmic, and the big, huge, troublesome animatronic dragon has it built its toast. It breathed its last burst of fire. They do that, Fanatical. Dragons do breathe fire, but they don't then get engulfed in fire, drizzle molten fiberglass everywhere, including onto their main body section, and then that bursts into fire too. Yes, you'd have thought they'd have learnt from the last one, but not to worry. Dragons, you don't make them out of flammable material. Weezerbox says I'm the gay relative. One of the gay relatives. That one has been in fire before. Ryan Drew has it, because the previous one was the Maleficent during the parade that just went kaboom and then kept going. They didn't turn it off. Fiberglass melts, Nautical. The resin ignites. The fiberglass itself, it will tend to drop down in flaming clumps. It's very flammable. You do get fireproofing agents for it, but it's not great. We need more asbestos. That'll fix everything, Hand Pritcher, or just make them out of metal. Fire-breathing dragons self-ignited. Yes. Dance at Aardvark, Soup Dragon on Clangers was Top Dragon. What about the Soup Dragons? They've just rejoined recently. The band. What do you think caused EV batteries to burst into flames, Arion Llewellyn? Just bad design, probably. And you have to design it around compartmentalization, but they're trying to jam too many batteries in a small area. It's basically they're doing the Samsung thing. It caught fire 4 years ago, apparently. Oh, I'll have to look up that. There must be video of it. Alberta, Canada's burst into flames. All female firefighting crew start as a training exercise. 13,000 evacuated so far. You say that all female firefighting crew, that's not going to do their reputation much good, is it? China North Air Guns, that's strange. Let's talk bad dragons. No, Kerry Saphir. Too big. Technically speaking, both the dragons at Disney were bad because they burst into flames. Physical damage, incorrect cooling, and bad charging causes most EV fires. Yes. Not sure. Lots of the Chinese ones were going fire, but that might just because there's quite a lot of them, and you don't know if they've been tampered with. People have done modifications or damaged them in some way. Our titty marks are hand size. They sound quite good. Acolyte. LFB, lithium iron phosphate. Batteries are the ones to have at the moment, Adrian Coles. They've lower energy density, but they don't burst into flames in quite the same way. They don't have a flammable electrolyte that comes out as a vapour. Can you give us a live demonstration how to use a bad dragon brick, Clive? I could show you how to place things on top and use it as a shock-absorbing medium, yes. All female fire crew sounds sexist, it does. Audio is clicking, Horovac. This is from a different phone. That's interesting. If everybody else gets clicks in their audio, I'll try doing something about it. Is the woofle bad? The woofle's good, but not on Dragon's big toe. The April Fool's Bad Dragons are really something lol. Oh, and I didn't know they did that. Oh, so it is randomly clicking. It is a different phone because the other one was crashing. I started the Patreon stream. It didn't even get a minute in before the phone crashed. So I've completely reset that phone. But this is the one that I record all the videos at the bench with. Oh, so it's not the phone that's doing it. Awkward. Tell you what, I shall lower the data demands by lowering the return data to my own screen and make it potato vision. I don't need to see my picture of myself. No clicking here, but audio is out of sync with the video, the chipmunk. Try refreshing the page and it should go back into sync. I'll wager the phone is a factor. It's a different phone, Matt Heelshire. So the other one that had clicking, the last time this clicking was a completely different phone. Same brand, but different phone. A slower phone. The image quality is excellent, though. Is it a good image? Monkey Man here. Clive's voice soothes regardless of any audio issues. The voice has been croaky these days. Might be the YouTube side. I'm not going to rule out the routers because it is going through many channels. Have you been to Poundland lately? No, but I will be next week. I'm not creative, though it's not my prime choice these days because a lot of the stock they had in previous times was a bit boring, to be honest. My Glock is tritium sights. I don't have a Glock, Crow-T robot, owing to the fact we're not really allowed guns on a regular basis. Fuzzy pick for me, Weaselbox says. That may be low local data. You could always try refreshing or checking the resolution by going down to the bottom, clicking the little gear icon and selecting quality. Ravenly, I keep getting Clive's voice in my head saying some of the stranger long names from here. Does that mean I'm losing my mind? Oh, right, the strange names. They're kind of memorable indeed. T-Town Get Parade, everything sounds fine here, but I have rock and roll house mixer ears. Ah, so destroyed hearing then. My ringtone is Clive saying, "One moment, please." Ah. Interesting thing to note about the "one moment, please" is that with a bit of encouragement from YouTube, I'm going through some older videos and I am putting mid-video adverts in. I get the feeling that if you don't do that, then because YouTube makes less money off them, it doesn't push them out there so much. So after talking to one of the representatives, I said, I don't really want to put it on the videos when I release them. They said, well, what you can do is you can release the videos and then later on, when it's been out for a week or so, when everybody's seen it, then you can pop them in after that. But see the one moment, please. That's the point I'm doing it. So it basically, I'll take something to bits and then say, I'm just going to reverse engineer this. One moment, please. And then that's the point the advert will appear and then it'll continue. Because it makes sense. Because that one moment, please, often hides hours of reverse engineering. Arthur Two Sheds Jacks, can you hang out with me and Minky Moo2 one day? I've already hung out with Minky Moo2. I met Minky Moo2 last year. Not sure where Arthur Two Sheds Jackson is based, but I do have meetups in Edinburgh. Where's the pie dish these days? It's full of lithium batteries, Steve Perry. Corporate suck up, indeed, or Kirka. But that's okay, because you guys won't see those adverts unless you go and look at old content, and then there's just one advert. I don't pepper it right through it. If you leave it to the default settings, it would. Handguns lower life expectancy, or they could raise them, Rocco Rizzo. I won't lie, if I moved to America Are you allowed guns in Canada? But if I moved to America, I would buy a gun. Yes, I would, just for the, and I'd take it to bits. Oh no, Nisai, I've no plan on doing the 1 minute sponsor segments. They are just so cringy. They are so unpleasant. Leslie Speaker, Big Clive's such a sellout. Well, keep in mind that the Patreon support is getting completely advert free. The regular viewers get an advert at the beginning, but none in the middle, and it's only later on that it's going to be through. I mean, that's part of the reason you make YouTube videos. It's a living now. Guns are fun and very technical. They are, Boople. They are very technical, interesting technology in some of them. Do sarcastic adverts. I could do fake adverts. I could do bad dragon adverts, Garbage User. The ad blockers get none, but they're working on that, I think. You could also sign up with YouTube and just get their YouTube premiums. I'm not really sure, and just get completely advert free. Martin Balfour, shout out to my mate Rob Lowe, who has a cancerous tumour in his larynx. I hope they managed to get that removed, Rob. That's not so good. Luxor Labs, they're fun little machines till you'd redecorate a room in your house in grey matter. Well, as long as it's an official, that's not a problem. You'd like to see my TV license? Here it is. Some competition handguns can have a life of 100,000 rounds. I've never really thought of the life cycle of it. I suppose it does have a lot of wear. Put a fake advert in with a fake countdown tower, the fake skip button mid-roll. I could actually do that. Weezabox says, I turn off my ad blocker for you, Clive. Why, thank you. You don't have to, though. The rain comedy of gardening once again, moving a huge Concord grape plant from the front to the back to feed the birds. I don't do much gardening, it shows. I've noticed if you sign up for Premium Apple, they charge you £4 more. I bet that's something, an Apple thing, Ben Scourgy. That will be an Apple thing. They'll want their bit of the pie. Carry severe directed energy weapons or electromagnetic guns for me. Yeah, those pesky 400-volt electrolytic capacitors. James Randolph, rough day, minding the next toast to friends lost, I can. Apple takes 30% of all transactions. I think they all do. They're all basically money-making platforms, aren't they? I'll get the next toast ready. Because it is a disturbing thing that sometimes you lose friends when they're young. Oh, very dear friend, four-legged. Yeah. It will, in general, be to departed friends, both animal and human. Only smokable gardening. You could smoke the whole garden, Matty England. I don't know how you'd feel after doing it, though. How long do you normally spend editing your videos? Roughly about this long. Lock.2, because I look at the other YouTubers who spend so long editing their videos and it just basically fatigues them. So I do as little editing as possible. A lot of it is done live, so to speak. So this toast, this Jägerminion, is to departed friends, both two-legged and four-legged. Or more, I suppose, really, for people who have more exotic pets. To departed friends. I don't want to get into editing the videos too much because that's just a never-ending thing. You just end up with higher and higher expectations. Mike B, I felt a lot sad when my dog died and a family member. Terrible thing to say, but yes, pets. I don't really want to own a pet anymore. A, for travel issues with work, and B, for the fact that you get attached to them so closely and then they pass. So it just avoids that. Thank you, Paul Norman. Good evening, Clive Tech family. Run out of beer, found a bottle of wine, fridge, no date in it, but tastes okay. Cheers all. Is there an expiry date in wine? I don't really know. I don't think there is. But you'd probably, I was going to say maybe you'd taste it, but having said that, generic Asda wine, for instance, sometimes I bought a bottle of wine and I just too scared to drink it because it tasted so bad. I thought, is it bad? This is why after a while I just added vodka to, or rum to cream soda, because then you get something that is affordable and known. Wine can still go bad. Wine is expired and it's become vinegar. Leslie Speaker, same Clive, that's what I realised after my cat died, didn't want to experience that again. If you do want to go for another pet in the future, to be honest, if you feel that one of your pets is about to pass, if it's getting old, one of the best things to do is get another before it passes, so you've got a bit, the company continues. Get yourself a puppy or a kitten, and it just makes the whole instant less traumatic. Should have been. Someone did a 7-point turn in front of my house just now. Did you lean out the window and shout at them? It's not the Royal Parade. Why do people save red wine for years and years? Good wine ages, DCL. I'm not really sure. I wonder how many people just have a 1,000-year-old bottle of wine. Nobody's ever going to drink it because it's probably going to be disgusting. Get rescue pets. These will love you forever, Dennis. I'm not so sure about that. Yes, to a degree, but it may have had a bad upbringing. It's never going to be as affectionate as one you've had from a kitten that's got that bond that you have with them. Like Ralph's cats are just super affectionate. I see the wild birds come to my bird feeder as pets. Indeed, Simon L., and you get fresh ones every year. They've opened up a 200-year-old bottle of mead and I was told it was wonderful. Yeah, that's what they say, Rocco Rizzo. It's go, 200 years. How much was this? It was £30,000. Oh. It's wonderful. Yeah. Or maybe it tasted so wonderful because a 200-year-old bottle, they opened it and it was like disgusting. So they just poured Lambrini into it and they're like, oh, it's adorable. Maybe I'll have to carbonate Lambrini. It should be carbonated. I think it's no, I don't think Lambrini is fizzy. There's a candidate then. Our cats found us. Strays, being hunted by strays, that's fine. We have adopted a few strays in the past. The trouble is it a stray or is it just looking for a second family for snacks? I'm pretty sure that little Hutchie, when she visits, is going around the whole neighbourhood, visiting people. Little whore that she is, kitty whore. Baby sham, nothing wrong with baby sham, John Payton. Lambrini is fizzy. See, I should know that. I used to drink quite a lot of it. Proper Lambrini girl. The reason I stopped is because I realised just how much sugar was in it. They're always looking for snacks, yeah. And it says in the Dreamies packet, don't give them more than 12 a day or something like that. And that's like 30 people are giving them 12 a day. That's why Pip, the Costa cat, who's actually, let me work this out, over that direction, there's a Costa coffee in the park, and coffee shop, and there's a cat that just basically, it's a little attention whore. And it had problems with the skin on its ears. It had health problems that were attributed to the fact that everybody was giving it dreamies all day long. If you'd spend 50,000 per glass of wine, would you admit it's total crap, Bill Richards? I think just the status of your 50,000 glass of wine, I would not. Jesus, if it costs more than £1 for a glass of wine, that's too much. Lambrini's Council Estate Champers. It is Dance at Aardvarks. It's trash. I like it. I could weigh little Hutchie when she comes in, Vera de Wolf. That would be tricky, because she is a semi-feral cat. Your cat lived for 26 years. Died behind a vet's because of a brain tumour. The cats always end up with something weird at the end, Brendan. But 26 years is huge. We have a cat whore going around the neighbourhood. She gets food from everyone. It's common. They know what they're doing. Who's that was saying that their cat came in with a hot lamb chop? It had obviously stolen off someone's plate. It's Chipmunk. Our cat came home one day with a still warm pork joint. Oh, right, okay. Cats. Nutters. Lambrini sounds close to the naughtiest word, Semprini. What does Semprini mean? I'm going to type that in now. Semprini. Nope. Nope. Comes up with everything but a reference to rudeness. Simon Reeves has just finished watching the F1 qualifier, which wasn't shit for a change. That's good. Does that mean that everybody crashed? But Clive, thank you, finally my software license is renewed. I'm now paying attention. Ah, Craig Matthews. Cherry North Airguns, my cat was a tiny kitten when I got her. Best time to get him. She was feral. She is unbelievably affectionate. Yeah. Kind of, if they grow up with you, they become very attached. Ralph's kittens are just ridiculously friendly. Complete demanding of attention, but not lap cats, which is strange. They won't come up in your lap, but you can pick them up, and they do like the attention. Do not stick a finger in the 3D printer heat lock when it is printing temperature. No, Alice Chapman. Or indeed wipe the end of the filament with a paper towel just to get the snot off it, the little extruder, and then run out of paper towel and stick your finger against it. I don't have a giant fat cat. I do not have a cat at all. Just I use, that's not the correct terminology, I pet a local semi-feral neighbourhood kitty. A cat moved in my local Tesco supermarket. There's one at the local swimming pool here that just lived. It's called Swimming Pool Cat, just like we used to have Post Office Cat. Bumble Baggins, greetings. Welcome to your first stream. Carbonation would turn into solid. I think I'm not really sure for an article what would happen. You're maybe thinking hydrogenation of margarine as such. I'm not really sure what would happen if you carbonate it all. I've no real plans in doing it because that would be a one-way trip for the soda stream. Just trying to see. Lambrini is pear cider, not wine. Well, it's pear cider in the sense of possibly being pear themed. I'm not really sure how much pear is involved in Lambrini. They've just 3D printed a fillet of fish. Mean real fish protein, fama, or what? Mr. Egg swimming pool cat, just a cat that hung out around the swimming pool. It had a favourite light that it used to just snuggle on over the top of the light at night time to heat its paws up on it. Thank you, Jeff. Much appreciated. Isn't a pure cider called a perry? Yes, it is. Lambrini is technically speaking a perry wet wearer. One that I used to drink all the time was a pomaine. It was a sort of fizzy, carbonated cider type thing. But Lambrini is quite good. You also get the carbonated perries with the corks that pop out. I think Baby Sham was carbonated. No, they 3D print fish flavour protein stuff in a way it mimics the muscle structure. Oh, right, okay. That makes sense. I always wondered how they got the sort of like the strandy texture of crab sticks. Because that is just basically fish bonded together with glue, isn't it? Does anyone know of a web browser that does not automatically force redirect from HTTP to HTTPS? Not sure. Try building. Maybe an option. Fred Betterhead, I hope you had fun being in the Fundy Puppet Show last Sunday. Yes, it was quite interesting. A virtual environment. They seem to be enjoying themselves. All super technical geeks, that's so strange. Pomaine was lovely, and then they stopped singing at Acolyte. My mum used to get a bit tiddly in pomaine, but all it took was one glass, it went straight to her head. We'd often open a bottle as a family on special events and share it together. Let us share a bottle of pomaine. And then later on in life, I had my own bottle of pomaine. My PC is now slow to crawl. It takes 1 second for it to register key press. Must be Windows, Franco Walker. Scrolling down, catching up. Have good to see you too, Carla Stepetic. You can only carbonate water, water-based liquids, not oil, or ethanol. Cloud in McLeod, but I've never thought of carbonating pure ethanol. I don't know how easy it'd be to get absolutely pure ethanol. I need to finish updating my website and getting everything tuned and cleaned up since it's now HTTPS. Excuse me. Some browsers, Chrome included, will refuse to let you back on HTTP if you've ever successfully connected to or with HTTPS. I've been getting a lot of... while I was looking for a data sheet for a video last night, I kept getting the "this website is insecure, do you want to proceed or not" thing. Make your own pure ethanol. The trouble is making it pure. It requires proper rockeries, a multi-level distillation. I don't have that. Unkempt website. It is a very unkempt website, Dang. It's an old website. It goes back a long way. It goes to dial-up era. So it is unkempt because it's just gradually evolved from that time, including my shit HTML programming in the early days. Have you played Ring Toss the Spaghetti this week, Clive? I stole that from Bill. I don't even know what that means, Minky Moo2. Now, is it HVAC School, the video channel that recently put a video up, a really heavily animated video, showing the whole process of operation of a refrigeration system. What a spectacular piece of educational material. Just, it's superb. YouTube is great for education. Of course, that's not the bit media sees. All they see is all the bad things about YouTube, because that's what they do. Define pure ethanol, like around about 95%. Yeah, and this should be viable. You're never going to get 100%. It's very hygroscopic at that point. Radium gin want carbonating. Mascara West could do. I remember crappy nightclubs giving a bottle of pomaine as a prize to the best dancer. That's a bit cheap, Electron Box. But that's nightclubs, isn't it? We don't have Everclear here, Lieutenant Colonel Panic. Insecure website is normally a self-signed cert, David. Hmm. I could imagine then hydrous ethanol is available from lab companies, Craig Matthews. I think with the correct distilling equipment, what do they call that? The reflux still? I think you could achieve very high purity, but it'd be a bit specialist. Can you carbonate with nitrous oxide? Getting it these days. They're trying to ban it, Simon Roll here, because kids have breathed it and therefore, it must be banned outright. It's just like the usual knee-jerk reaction. The refuse to go back to HTTP is, it's just jumped. It's jumped. James Randolph, 5 bottle fractional still 96%, but tastes like shite. Well, it would if it was 96%. Quite a big unit, but you do get fairly compactish stills. Tech Ingredients featured one. It was very interesting. And they went over the science behind it. Australia just banned all forms of nicotine vaping, Rifleman. Yes, but they've not banned cigarettes. And they were saying they were worried that kids might start vaping, and now the kids will just have to go to cigarettes instead. Well done, Australia. Well done, tobacco industry. The usual knee-jerk reaction, yeah. They've succeeded in doing it in India, banning vapes right early on, and only cigarettes are allowed. Tobacco industry wins, money changes hands. In Germany, you buy it as Primus Spirit. Is that for fuel for the burners? But I would worry about what's in that. James Randolph, I saw the Tech Ingredients still very nice. It is nice, and it was a very educational video showing how each time, effectively, the distiller is multiple distilling each level. And it's the stuff it takes ethanol out and then the rest flows back down, then it takes more ethanol out, and as it becomes more ethanol rich, it becomes easier to get out. So it's a sort of exponential effect until you get it pure. I wonder what drinks they make with it. Australia makes considerable income from cigarettes, Rifleman. I visited Australia with a view possibly to the future of moving there and decided not to because I found it was very political. The Aussie Gov is a problem. Diacetyl is a new vaping concern. No, Acolyte. Diacetyl was what the smoky industry used to scaremonger that vaping was bad for you, but it backfired on them when they found that there's actually more diacetyl in cigarettes as standard. Primus Spirit is 96% drinkable ethanol. Is it got Bitrex in it or something, Nisai? The disposables, I wish they would ban disposables and just because all the major suppliers of them, like Geek Bar, introduced the module versions that you click the cartridge in, that it kept the battery and a charging circuit. That's the way to go. I think the reason they ended up being disposable is to appeal to the cigarette smokers with the throwaway culture, but also because it got around a regulation. Megavoltmeister, that must be a really expensive still. It's from China, and therefore it's not that expensive. Diacetyl is not found in popcorn these days. It used to be used, that's where it got the name popcorn lung, because it used to be used to give the strong buttery flavour in popcorn until they discovered the hazard. And factory workers in popcorn factories who breathed in the buttery smell all day long suffered irreparable lung damage. And one old guy who claimed that he got it from eating the popcorn sued them as well. I don't believe that. I think it's just because he was a fat bastard, quite frankly. Yes. Don't believe the tobacco industry is still relevant, James Speakman. I think the tobacco industry is history. It's Yappy Fox here. Greetings, Yappy Fox. Oh, yep, Yap. Yeah, Yappy Fox is there. The AV guru. Ah. If it wasn't for vapes, I wouldn't be able to quit smoking, says Rocco Rizzo. Well, that's what I thought was the main advantage of them. I'd rather friends who smoke vaped instead. Ain't big and clever. If I use internal IP, I get an unexpected close connection error. If I go to the day it hits my ADCL router, which displays when here need to test outside, I haven't a clue what you're talking about. Oh, I tell you what, though, ain't big, ain't clever. That emergency light you took apart recently, see that little air bladder for just expanding like a little condom inside the unit, so that as the pressure built up and down inside with thermal cycling, it just didn't create a huge differential pressure. That was pretty clever. That was a really neat little thing. I wonder who came up with that idea. Mark Trombley, don't insult us fat bastards. I'm very thin myself. Enjoyed my chips and chili today at the Energy FM bowling alley. Lidl are selling UV fly killers. Do you think they're actually UV? There was no word in the packaging. Michael Dufay. I guess there might be LED. It depends. Is there a fluorescent tube or are there LEDs? Fluorescent tubes would be the real UV, but the LEDs not so much. I'll be over at Lidl at the end of next week probably. And I'll take a look and see what I can find. Oh, Bill Richards. Dasta was never proven to cause popcorn lung. It was one of 6 suspected chemicals. Oh, that's interesting. You're the AV guru, Clive. No, Fama. No, not with certain people in this forum at the moment. Did you bowl? What was your score? I did not, big toe, because I have big feet and don't really fit normal bowling shoes. I've only bowled on full-size 10-pin bowling once in my life, and that was with undersized shoes. Pretty painful process. But I've used the Bolingo. Who did Bolingo? Mendes. Then became Cubica, then blended with EMF. But I used to play the Bolingo all the time, the string setters, the little coin-operated ones. They were great. Can you hand make a fire extinguisher, Clive? Yes. It's a bucket filled with water. See the whole truth. Jack Attack, Chuck Sigs now in a year now. Once you're over the nicotine thing, that'd probably be quite straightforward. I do like the old pin setters. I find them interesting. They're quite complex, big, powerful machines with the ability to kill the people working on them, particularly if they get trapped between the mechanism as it comes up and it basically literally squeeze the life out and they can't breathe. And the odd electrocution there, here and there, because that's just what happens, electrical equipment. But the string setters are interesting. The real bowlers don't like them, the league bowlers, but the casual fun bowlers don't give a shit about string setters, and they just make it so simple. Did you see Dave Hack's new video he reviewed an Amazon UV toothbrush bacteria killing thing looked like a real UV tube? A lot of them do have the little quartz U tube or the wee straight quartz tube in them. It's still the cheapest way to get high output of UVC over a large area. Steve Carrack, the first job Maggie Thatcher took when she left government was an ambassador for Wills Tobacco Co. to influence third world countries to lower taxes on cigarettes and thus cause more deaths. She also invested heavily in tobacco. She was just not a good person, really. Post my tardiness. My defence, the rose spuds were epic. Glad you enjoyed your rose spuds, Pie Man. Vape is still poison. It is still poison, but it's better than smoking particulates. But the future will reveal that because yeah, we'll find out in the future. It's an ongoing scientific experiment. Monkey Man here. You should have chosen the stinky cheese. Do a poll how many of us a plan on getting the S98 Pro Megavolt Meister could do. I could add a poll. For those who don't know, before you answer the poll, I'll show you it. So that's this phone with the normal visible light camera. It's got 3 cameras in the back, visible light camera, infrared camera, the infrared LEDs, and then the thermal imaging camera with a 256 by 192 resolution. It's just fantastic. It's just one of the best engineering phones. It's also, to throw into the mix, it's got one of those SIM card slots that holds 3 things, the 2 SIM cards and an SD card. It doesn't make you choose one or the other like some of the designer ones do. BV9900 Pro, if I hadn't got this one, I would have still have the BV9900 Pro. Having a thermal imaging camera in your pocket at all times is just crucial these days. By no means I can't even afford a new phone. JH Sevs. Well, keep in mind, relatively speaking, this one is what I'd call an engineer's flagship and costs £300. I think it was £260 in AliExpress there. Are there any other phones that have an infrared sensor like Cat phones? Yes, there are. The Cat S62 has it, but it's going to be a slower phone and its firmware is going to be crap and the resolution is going to be lower because, well, that's Cat. It's not Cat, it's actually Bullet do them. Save my money for a Mini Moog, Mr. Egg Cake. Sure you can't emulate it in software, it'll be cheaper. I was tempted to get one, but who'd you buy them off? I got mine from the official Doogie store on AliExpress, but Amazon might give you an extra layer of protection at expense. One thing you have to remember with these is if you're buying a Chinese phone from a Chinese seller, then you're not going to get the same backup. If you get the phone and it's problematic, it's going to be a bit of an issue. Also, they have one instant in 2017 where they put forced advert injecting in their phones, which is pretty much malware, and often opens up weaknesses. But I think they learned, just like Lenovo did that once, and they learned the hard way that you don't do that. Why would they do it in the first place? I have a Blackview A100 and don't plan on upgrading. That's reasonable enough. Rugged phones. Rugged phones are the thing. How much is it, Brian Cox? I paid £300 for mine. Oh, scrolling. Every time I pause, that this, like Samsung. Samsung, one day Samsung will have, they must at some point put a thermal imaging camera in it, just even as a sales gimmick. And Apple too. But there have been phones sold in the past at suspiciously low prices on eBay, where the phone had either at the factory had malware put in it, or they'd put the malware in. They'd bought the phones, put the malware in, then sold them cheap so people bought them just so they could actually do nasty things. Sexy man rugged phones, yes. Phones for rugged people. Samsung has longer bug fixes than most, James Randolph. I know that Samsung has an ongoing security thing in their things that they've not addressed. Naomi Byrne, I'm waiting for the see-through closed cameras. That's this one. This one is notorious. The infrared is notorious for being able to see through certain fabrics. I'm not sure what I could demonstrate that with here. Camera. Let's go to the night vision. So under night vision, that's what I look at. It's got its infrared LEDs on, so it is. What's that gonna? It's gonna make my. Don't know. Anyway, I'm not really sure what I could look through right now that would demonstrate that. Oh, hold on. What about a filter? What about a filter like... Yeah, okay, here's one. Watch this. This is a filter gel, right? Can you see the text behind it? It's the filter and it's got the text behind it giving the spectral response. Let's take a look at with the infrared camera. And you can just see right through it. You can see the text. I don't know if you're going to be able to actually... let's see if I can... But anyway, it looks completely transparent to the infrared. 1 minute to woofle. Aha. Put red and green together, or just see through them. Black rubbish sacks too, and apparently Coca-Cola looks transparent. Ah. It did look a bit washed out because of all the lighting on the background. It is woofle time. It's past woofle time. Ugh. Woofling. Every day I'm woofling. Woofle. Test all the filters for the smoky residue. Woofle. It began Clive. My night vision scope was able to see through my limo black window tint like it wasn't there. One of my cars, the front plate with the lettering made from it, in infrared it was a blank plate. Oh, that's reasonable enough. Naughty. Does it have its own infrared illuminator? It does, Hans Pritcher. Had my face tattooed yesterday. Coolest tattoos I have, says Pool Paul. Interesting. What's the history of the woofle? I just 3D printed it one time, Mike Rook, and just it became a thing on the live streams. Does that burn the white paint? Yes. It doesn't really. The ceiling is flame treated. It's a bit sooty, largely because of what Kevin did news across, but that's fine. What does suffering succotash mean anyway? Suffering succotash, Megabolt Meister. I'm not really sure what where succotash is. Can you hear the arc lighter in person? Yes. As a hiss. I'm not putting it too close to the microphone. Ah. Just reading down here. Just reading down. Why do some people here have a grey background to their username? They're in the third caution. I don't think so. I think it just means it's a fairly... Is that when you've been mentioned in a comment? Not really sure. Ever used a laundromat? Yes. Used to like going to the laundromat, the local laundry, when I was a kid. I liked the machines. The electric lighter, did it come with removable batteries? See the whole truth? No, it's rechargeable. The username's not colour this week. Yeah, that sometimes happens. It's just stuff gets changed. Grey are banned. They're not banned. They wouldn't be visible if they were banned. Do you use Easy EDA for PCB design? I've been looking at it, Harris, but I've not tried it yet. I'm so used to using my existing circuit board design package that if I wanted to design a circuit board, I'll just go and use the original package. But really, I should switch to Easy EDA because technically speaking, I'd use that in the Chromebook. And wherever I go, if it's in the cloud, I could then modify the circuit board designs there. And it is designed to integrate with the manufacturers better, like JLC PCB. Done much playing with ChatGPT? It can write OpenSCAD code too if you ask it to. I've not tried that. I've not played too much. I was a bit disillusioned with the early versions of ChatGPT. It produced very odd results. But you have zero control of what's in the cloud. Well, you do, JHSevs, but it could be compromised, I suppose. I used to love playing with timer switches out of washing machines and dishwashers. The cam switches, they were great, Yappy Fox. Sequencers connect lights them and stuff like that. I've got a cam switch somewhere through there, but I just know if I went through to find it, I wouldn't find it. Have I featured that in a video yet, the cam switch? I'm not really sure. Usually covered in the machine. In the UK, for the front-loader machines like the Hot Points, they were usually quite deep cam switches because they had a huge number of washing settings. And they were covered top, bottom, and sides with live electrical connections all around it. Before the advent of the microwave, the laundry machines used to be the biggest domestic killer because people would have a go at fix them and just poke their hands inside with the power was on. Water and electricity everywhere. The cam switches cost an absolute fortune now. They're still used in some the commercial dishwashers, the ones that basically just you pull the cover down, it just sprays water all over the dishes. Are you very tall or is the ceiling rather short? I'm 4 foot, but the ceiling is just a bit above me here. So I would say the ceiling is probably about 4.5 feet tall. No, it's not. I'm 6'4"-ish, and it is a low ceiling. It's when I go through doorways, it's just this arched doorway is not really, it limits where I can actually be in it, but particularly with a hat on. Unfortunately, my shoulders push me away from the edge. ChatGPT is intelligence by committee, lowest common denominator, Norm Swan. It's interesting. I thought the service washing machine engineer was my dad, so more of him 240 LED, not IP rated. What? That's a double comment, Mondo daps a brush. I do have very big feet, Monkey Man here. I've repaired a few cam switches over the years, but used a meter probe, not fingers. Bill Richards, my biggest electrical explosion was a cam switch in industrial refrigeration equipment. It was a particularly cheap cam switch, I've mentioned this in the past, that instead of having micro switches pressed by the cams, just had the bare contacts, but it looked like micro switches. And I poked with a screwdriver, resting it on the metal frame as I did so, and it was Armageddon. It initiated an arc flash, and everything was across the phases. It was like 3-phase, 415 volt between them, and it just wiped across the whole lot. What a bang it made. Very scary. Kenny Severe, cam switches are commonly used as function switches in ovens, the rotary cam switches for the positions, as opposed to the motorized ones. Earth metal frame, indeed. And then afterwards, when I looked at it, it was very clear that other people had done exactly what I'd done because it was an unusual cam mechanism. Normally, to initiate a defrost in those pack systems, you'd just poke in one of the switches and it would initiate a defrost in that set of cases. But in this instance, everybody else had been doing it as well because they were so used to poking the switches in, and there was a row of skid marks where their screwdrivers had been blown up. And I told my co-workers, and they said later on, oh, you remember, like, you told us, you warned us about that. Well, we blew it up anyway. Could you shock a car battery to drop the sulfate off the cells? There's lots of theories, Fama, but I've not seen evidence that you can properly desulfate car batteries. That was nearly a Darwin award. Not really. It wasn't super Darwin-y. It was loud, though. Do you know the worst thing about it was the fact that the massive flash, because I was looking at the time, so your eyes are like just seeing dots. The real loud bang and all the generators, not generators, the compressors, everything just going silent instantly. So all you can hear is that whee in the background. And then the panic, because that was the whole refrigeration system for like tons of cases out in the supermarket down now. And rushing over to the control panel, opening it up, looking across, seeing the circuit breakers, all the control circuits, and switch them all one by one. You could hear all the compressors starting up again. And then it was like, yeah. I got off lightly on that one. I'm just going to put my pack of gels through. This is a swatch book used in the theatre industry for all the materials they sell for... not really so important these days because everything's LED now. Mosquitoes make that wee sound. They do in a way. Adrenaline's brown, it is, yes. Is that why wooden screwdriver handles went plastic? I'm not really sure. I think it's just because plastic was easier to mold. And that's why with VD screwdriver, Craig Matthews. Yes, probably. It would help. It would have helped, but it's not the main reason. That was just to appease Karens. Solar lights, lithium batteries, please keep it going, Luciana. Well, here's a snag. If you're in an environment where it's super sub-zero temperatures in winter, then lithium batteries aren't a good choice. C-Tech charges of a desulfation stage. I'll have to scope at some to see what it's doing. It's usually pulses of current just to try and crack the sulfation off, but I don't know if there's any evidence it actually works in Big Ain't Clever. I think it's just something that, a perpetual myth that it works. Not convinced, but I've no exact proof of that, so. You'd have to do a complete cycle test, measure the capacity of a proper test of the capacity, leave it desulfating for a while, and then try the test again. Loud bangs and electric shocks. That was the story of Husband. It's like, of all the companies I work with, it was the most electrically violent experience of my life. Not the worst electric shock, though. That was with the supermarket again. It was an automatic barrier gate, but I've told that story in the past. I threw away 3 of those swatch books a few months ago, Lee Roscoe and some other. The thing is, Yappy Fox, it's hard getting them again, and those little pieces of gel are quite useful in front of displays. It's almost something you could put on eBay these days. It's becoming a collectible, I think. I'm going to get more Bud Light. I don't feel feminine enough yet. I could do a urine test with a urine test strip on the Bud Light, but I don't know if there's any advantage to that. It's probably just going to show similar results to before. Ave did a video on the Epsom salt and sulfate. I got another 2 years out of more battery with that. Did you, Big Toe? I'm pondering whether some of these things are just people thinking they're getting a good result. I'm not really sure. Like a kid with a toaster and a knife. Well, that's how you learn, Simon Raw. Who hasn't blown a hole in flowers at the end of a screwdriver? It's just standard. Did you keep it afterwards, though? Sometimes you can foul the tip of the screwdriver to get it back again. Other than that story, what's the closest Clive had that you just sat back and said, how'd that not kill? Raymond Guarini. That was also with Husband. Working on, I was changing a compressor. I was disconnecting the compressor for getting it all changed out on a compressor pack, which is a big bank of compressors in a steel frame with a huge liquid receiver above it. It's just basically loads of compressors in one pack. And it was in a plant room with at least 2 of those packs in it, with about 5 compressors each. And long hours, I was tired. I isolated the wrong compressor, and I then shimmied in between the receiver and because the only way to get in was sandwiched between the compressors and the other metalwork. And I took the cover off it, put my deep socket on to the terminals, tried it for size, took it back off. As soon as I took it back off, the compressor started. And if I'd been holding on to that socket, the way I was positioned and against all the metalwork, sweaty over and stuff like that, it would have been toast. It was just like, oh, that was close. No one would have heard me. I wouldn't be able to scream anyway, because you can't when the current's flowing through your body because it causes respiratory paralysis. It would have been terrible. Then I turned the correct compressor off, and disconnected it. Oh, I've just scrolled right up off the chat. Punch hole into side of bottom of can, chug it, no. Deep socket, yes. It's a socket for your ratchet that is just deeper than normal. It's designed to go over long terminal bolts. Worked a lot of claims where people had the bit or socket fall into the box and it proceeds to explode and cause death or disfigurement. Very common. People loosening things and it goes down into metalwork that it shouldn't have been near, and initiates an arc flash. Can we see your deep socket? I don't even know if I've got much like that here. I don't think I have them here because they're mainly in my UK kit. No, just boring but nicely color-coded standard sockets. Oh, do you know what I had to do recently? A while ago, I demoed, actually that was a promotion, I suppose. I got sent some LEDs for my bench, which were the high color rendering index LEDs. The UG, was it? And one of them failed. And it's the same failure they always get. It was the style of the LED was the, hold on, power LEDs. Do you have enough power LEDs? It's full of LEDs. Let me see if we can find the standard type. These are all the ceramic cob. Well, I say ceramic cob. It's a flat plate with the cob, with the gel laid over it. It's not the bonded one. But the traditional bonded LEDs, like these, it's always the bonds at the end that fail. The LEDs are in lines, and once again, with the UG, it was the bonds at the end that fell. Not where they went in the chips, but where they were bonded from the chip onto the bus bar. They always seem to fracture there. Fortunately, when they said they would send me one, I said, could you send me 3? 2 for my bench lights, and I'll use them as bench lights, plus 1 spare. And they kind of grudgingly did. I'm glad they sent the spare. Can you still get LEDs and internal resistors? I think you can, but they're kind of rare, the L-Monk. Heating, cooling cycles, yeah, but yeah, not really sure. Don't blame Bond, blame M. Indeed, Brian Cox. Cree are the best LEDs. To a degree, but the problem is, are you actually getting Cree? Because everybody says it contains Cree LEDs, but you don't know if you're getting Cree. Are cobs always multiple LEDs? Usually, but it doesn't have to be. You can have a single LED and a cob chip on board. And these interesting ones, these are a different one. This is a flip chip LED. It doesn't have bonds. The LEDs are physically soldered in there directly across the little pads with no jump wires, which should make them more reliable. These are a backup plan if I need floodlighting. I just thought it was an interesting approach. Can't remember why I got these. Why did I get these particular ones? That I just really like the fact that they didn't have that bond system and they should be more reliable. That's probably why. It's probably for bench lighting. Getting a decent color rendering index for your bench lighting is quite tricky. You can run a power LED at 1 milliamp if you want. It will just be very dim. Nichia are very, very bright. Nichia Acolyte are also kind of expensive, but they are a premium brand. They were credited as being the first inventor, but Cree also brought out a blue LED at the same time of the blue LEDs. I think it's part of my horror sleeve tattooed yesterday as well, Pool Paul says. This pic where Jack Nicholson puts his head through the door, it looks incredible. This is good. Glad you enjoy your tattoos. Kevin, I think, was getting a tattoo recently. LED fair lights came with one CR2032 and no discrete resistor. When I placed it with USB power brick, I put 63 ohm in series. I'd have gone for 100 ohm, to be honest, but that's okay. The 63 ohm should be okay. Monkey Man here. Then again, I've used 10 ohm in the past, haven't I? Have I? Or was it two 10 ohm resistors? May have been two 10 ohm resistors. But now they'll last for ages. Didn't you stick 2 volts? I stuck 240 across one of those, a shit one, a really bad LED from China. All the chips were really showing parasitic resistance in them. But it didn't blow up. Those LEDs are like, because they get fine bonds contained in gel, they're almost like a high rupture capacity fuse. They don't blow too well, so I had to fake it. I had to put a resistor under it and blow that up instead. I used 120 ohms for 5 green LEDs and 240. It would explode metalized nearby. Yeah, 120 ohms is quite low. The resistor itself would blow up. That is low. 120k would have been better. 240 would be better. Tips on how to earn money without having to deal with people or an employer. Jade says, well, there's different levels of dealing with people. If you're doing domestic work, you're dealing with them directly, which is unpleasant. Look up the recent Karen video on that electrical video that we mentioned earlier on. If you're in commercial, like refrigeration, you're not dealing with the public as such. You're dealing with the people that work at the supermarket, but they're not really too bothered about what you're doing. They're not interested in what you're doing, and they just tend to leave you alone. But you can also do stuff from home, but unfortunately, I'm just trying to do that. If you've got a skill, you can usually do it. Is stream end at 11 Fanatical? No. It will end at 11:15, probably. I used to run LPG cars. Everyone asked also how it, always asked how it didn't blow up, because unless you had a leak of the gas, I mean, they do occasionally blow up, but it usually has to be a leak of gas into the interior. Supermarkets don't like fire alarm engineers. No, it's always a curse setting an alarm off, Mondo Dash Brush, and seeing the place evacuated. It's very embarrassing. What was the name of the channel? David Savary. Steve Odlers. I have lots of skills but no money to start. You don't need much money, JH Sebs, to actually start selling stuff online. And then you can build it up. Hopeful Traveller, I'm a current LPG, liquid petroleum gas, for 10 years, not a single problem. The late full price LPG converted my last car. All the cars that is at rally school are LPG. It's a fairly easy conversion for a petrol engine, I think. Skills don't need money, just a chance to show it. Indeed. LPG ending next year, and I don't know, Fanatical. DCES UK is the channel. Ah. David Savary, Electrical Services. Has the newest Medi Electroboom video already been mentioned? Is it the one with the fireflies? I thought he cheated a wee bit. I thought he was going to get a real jar of fireflies. But it's interesting. Channel good, Nigel is amusing too. Nigel's quite bearish, yes. LPG isn't as dangerous as hydrogen. Hydrogen is just explosive. Maybe that's why fuel cells haven't taken off. The fireflies were kind of disappointing. They probably looked a lot better on the camera than they looked in real life. I'm not really sure. Mike and Co. Bud Light carbonated it. The video is yet to be released as being carbonated. I'm just cashing in on the hysteria surrounding Bud Light at the moment. That poor woman obviously has mental problems, possibly early onset dementia. I don't think it's dementia, but she lives on her own and she's just, yeah, it's not nice. There's hydrogen in the UK gas supply. They're talking about adding hydrogen to it, but there are problems with that because the hydrogen is very prone to escaping from pipes. It can permeate through many materials and cause problems. Did the cider go into water vapor as well as C ethanol? Only half of the result was alky. I only, yeah, some water vapor went through with it, as happens. I've not got a proper still. It's not designed for distilling liquor. It's designed for distilling water, so you get water through that. Who remembers when Mike's electric stuff took apart a hydrogen fuel cell and it caught fire? I do remember that electron box. It was starting to glow the catalyst or something in whatever. Can't remember what that was. It was interesting. Yes. I also remember when Mike's electric stuff tested that circuit breaker with his destructotron and smashed the light fitting above the bench in the process. That's the best type of video. Not just carbonating the carbonating beverage, but over-carbonating the carbonated beverage. I now have a new cylinder of gas because it was starting to run low the last time. Hydrogen, literally the smallest element, James Randolph. Very prone to escaping, yes. What's with Bud Light? The Bud Light problem, partly, is that they got a trans person. Their marketing department decided to cash in the trans thing, and they chose the wrong time because the media is having a go at all the trans. It's happening in the UK as well. The media is currently targeting the trans community. And of course, because you get real transsexual people, and you also get people with attention deficit disorder who like cross-dressing for attention, the really loud, obnoxious ones that court the media, it's all being blown out of proportion. That doesn't do anything for the rights of transsexual people at all, does it? The real ones, the ones that just look like ordinary people. Toast to grow back the moustache. The moustache will gradually appear. It's already very prickly. Helium is a smaller molecule than hydrogen. Trying to think which is the one that's most prone to escaping. That's one of the interesting things. Volt R2M Stereo, the drag queen story time, I thought was not a good move. I thought that was provocative. But having said that, keep in mind that in Britain, the classic thing in theatre has been the cross-dressing performers in pantomime, which is a classic children's entertainment thing. Maybe it's just something we take for granted. Certainly in the hydrogen gas generator cells, the heating aid batteries, the air-powered batteries, that you peel the little tab off and it exposes the air and they start then generating hydrogen. Well, they start generating electricity, but if you starve them of air, if you just short them out, they generate the hydrogen. And those things that had a membrane, that it relied on the hydrogen gas passing through the membrane, but stopping the liquid coming back. With respect, a real small, I could get the one, but I've got this, it's controversial, I'm going to drink it. I could only buy a box of it, so that's what I'm having. I could do what I did. I could do what I did on the Patreon stream. Frosty Jack experiment, the 40% alcohol, shot glass, taste test. Add to Bud Light. And now it is Bud Less Light. Swirl it around, get that ethanol mixed in. Now it is more potent. Don't worry, HMRC, you've got all your duty off both alcohol sources. It's Bud Hate now, Mike and Co. It is. It's Bud Hate. Ah, that's basically how I drink coffee and the alcohol in it now in my bar, and it is all not. If you don't really drink it on a regular basis, it would be quite puckering. It's wife beater now, yes. It's not quite. Oh, it glitched. It's not on full wife beater. You have to get a Tennant Super Lager for that, which is designed for alcoholics fundamentally. There's no other audience. Late Jaeger. Oh, it is a late Jaeger. Let me think. Let me think. So, a topical subject recently, the last one was trans. Well, to the real trans people. To the real trans people. The ones in the background that have strangely technical jobs for some bizarre reason. Then again, that's not that bizarre, is it really? That and gold label. What? To Not My King. The king was toast at the beginning. Glasgow Tenement Super, indeed, Yanovich. It's just some of the drinks that are sold in Glasgow are aimed at alcoholics. Mind you, look at you can get for your £10 deal at the local ShopRite, you can get basically 5 litres of cider, alcoholic cider, which is the equivalent of 2 pints of vodka for a tenner. Chipmunk ain't big, ain't clever. Love the power supply video, mate. Ignore the guy who told you off the audio's fine. Oh, I've got to listen to it now. I've got to go and look at that video. Is that the battery backup type thing, the look of it? Harry Belafonte. Who the fuck is that? Harry Belafonte. Is it a dead person, by any chance? Harry Belafonte, American singer. He was 96 and he's died. 96 is pretty good going. Was he still continent at that point in time, is the question. Nope, never heard him. People will always complain about your videos. Quite recently a dead person. Ah, okay. As usual, Wikipedia will be right up to date. Someone dies and the same day the Wikipedia entry updates to say they're dead and the reason of death, and it's like, fuck, that's just a bit creepy, isn't it? Never going to make 96. I very much doubt it, Mr. Phil. Very much doubt it indeed. Not my size. And also the things I've done in my life that probably removed decades off my potential lifespan. Oh, he did the Dio song. Oh, I wonder, did he get a toast during the, did he get a toast during the Patreon stream? Not sure. Gordon Lightfoot died up there in Canada. Not sure that is. Belafonte. Ah, posh. Would you toast a Dutch gay politician that was assassinated? Well, it was a Dutch gay politician. I'll type in Dutch gay politician assassinated. I'm getting hints of Harvey Milk here. Forster was assassinated during the 2002 Dutch national election campaign by Volkert van der Graaf. Oh wow, dangerous. And animal rights activist. Is that the one? It's only coming up 2002. Openly gay sociology professor who scorned Islam as a backward culture. He wanted to drastically cut the numbers of immigrants. Quite an extreme gay. Some of us are. Why does your right cheek look puffy? Specifically my right cheek. What's puffy about it? I'm not really sure. Maybe it's the light, I'm not really sure. Some gays are weird, like Morrissey, for example. Yes. Hans Pritchard, but remember he is a performer. Hopeful traveller, the most masculine man I've ever known is gay. Probably a bear. That's what they're like. I don't think it's a myth that a lot of the steelworkers were gay. I think they just like that image. Have you seen the AI-generated hamburger commercial video yet? No, I haven't. Strong opinions appearing. Things have changed a lot during my life. It was like when I was, even after I'd left school and had started my apprenticeship, homosexuality was still a criminal offence back then in Scotland. It was only decriminalised not that long ago in the Isle of Man. Well, I do have a holodeck, SciQ. To be honest, who needs a holodeck when you get VR glasses? But VR glasses aren't as good as a holodeck. Quite a complex thing to achieve. The chipmunk, ain't big, ain't clever. I like your video because they cover stuff that's actually useful to me. God, that suggests that my stuff isn't. Jesus Christ. No, ain't big, ain't clever does good videos. Very well organized, super heavily edited videos. It looks like a lot of time goes into that. Do you have a holodeck? Yes, it's hollow, yes. What does that say in your sweater? The text in the sweater probably says, fruit of the loom. That's what it says in the sweater. Trio. I remember the Trio advert. Mark Hammond is gay. That's a surprise. Gay musicians, who'd have known? Next thing I'll be seeing like a Culture Club had gay members, and Frankie Goes to Hollywood, and even rock bands like Queen and stuff like that. Ever tried on high heels? Yes. When I was young, I tried on my mum's high heels because I wanted to use them as stilts, and they weren't. It didn't work. It didn't work out. Bono is gay as a dick altogether. I do not favour Bono. I do not like his singing at all. Pete Burns was gay. Yes, yes. Shout out to Fruit of the Loom. Fruit of the Loom. Working sweatshirts for people who work just generic sweatshirts. That and Gildan. Judas Priest? Oh, it's usually, yeah. It's rife. 80s were gay as fuck at what? They were, brown cocks. Deep down, they were as gay as fuck, yes. The 80s were great. Wasn't Clive Mitchell gay? Yes, yes he was. C. Bonnie. Yes. I'm just waiting for something I can actually read. Apparently, Friend Merrick's gay, can't see it myself, 404 not bound. Yes, indeed. One of the Queen members is an astrophysicist. I believe they are, yes. But then keep in mind, I am a doctor. It doesn't necessarily mean anything really solid. Wasn't Phil Mitchell gay, was he? I don't know. What, as a plot? I couldn't tell you. When I get a video, say the alcohol videos that's really popular, people go, what's this little flag? what does it mean? And they probably know, and they just want me to say it's the Bear Brotherhood flag. And they say, dirty, filthy homosexual. And it's like, oh, fuck off. Delete block. Fuck you, arsehole. Used to it. It's a lot better now than it used to be. It used to be some of the stuff that was done and said used to be pretty fucking horrible in the past. Yes. The village people, Ashley. I loved the village people, like the YMC, and I thought, like, I mostly liked the cowboy, but second was the builder and the choice. But I didn't know. Just super naive. Just didn't know. Couldn't have told you that Ken Everett either. Or Embry. You don't have to reply to them, Fanatico. Sometimes I just delete them, to be honest, because I know they're just angling or just, yeah. Which Phil Mitchell? I would guess Phil Mitchell is one of the Mitchell brothers off EastEnders. Could be wrong. Queen basis is Roger Taylor. Did you see today Charles' coronation? No, Francisco Lima. I did not see the coronation. Didn't even realise it was today because I don't give a shit. Kenny dressed in fishnets wasn't a clue. No, because actors do that, Mike and Co. Particularly when they're doing the sort of like the silly sketches. Yeah, just right out. It wasn't gay then, hang out with all the boys. You can hang out with all the boys. No, we didn't know. Just noticed keyboards. T key is more worn than others. Don't know why. T. Mine's actually, the two most shiny keys, because I wear keyboards out, are T and I. You'd think it would be different. Wonder why specifically those ones. Tits. Dick Emery, he wasn't gay though, was he? It's very hard to tell. I mean, everybody thought Rock Hudson wasn't gay. And then you get, what was that guy with the piano? The guy with the piano. Well, that just sums quite a lot of them up. Elton John, well, everybody knew about that, I think. What was the other one? I was going to say Fibonacci. That's not right. It's Liberace. Liberace, that's the one, Zadster. Yeah, it was pretty obvious, really, wasn't it? Nobody dresses at that, plays at piano with candelabras on it. Gay equal happy in the dictionary is gay equal happy in real life, to be honest. No families to worry about. No paternal instincts at all. No maternal instincts to the ladies. Nothing is there. It's just like, let's just assign you as no family for you. Fucker knows why. Didn't Rock Hudson die of AIDS? I think he may have done, Mr. Margate. Took a lot of people out in that era. Is still doing it. Because people, although they survived that era, are being taken about. Well, one of our own was taken recently in that way. It wasn't helped when, yes, won't go there. Yeah. Oh. Zam, I tried to let my daughter type my keyboard, and it was only then I realised I've worn through paint lots of the keys, so she's no idea which is which. The one that is worn to the point the text is worn off is the A for some reason. Either that or it's a dirty key. I don't think it is. I think the stuff has come out of it. The white insert. Worn out keys porn, yes. Monkey Man here says, I look forward to ending a woofle. Oh, that is actually, we'll go on to a woofle then. We will continue to a woofle. The Cash and the YMCA video weren't gay. The uniforms were the only things available for the rushed filming. I'm not so sure about that. But I know they employed just actors, but I'm pretty sure that at least one of them was actually gay and may have died of AIDS. I think it was a biker. I'm not really sure. I don't really know. I know that back then, well, now as well, Milli Vanilli come to mind, and Boney M come to mind as employing actors, and what was the other one? Tight Fit, didn't they employ actors? Were the Venga Boys real? I don't think any of these people were the performers, were not the actual musicians. Thank you, Peter Baum. Much appreciated, greatly appreciated. I don't know because I don't give a, don't know how strict the moderator is here, is such a mood. Have a few bottles of undisclosed alcoholic liquid. Why, thank you. Much appreciated. It is greatly appreciated. They were all humans. They were. But I really liked it back then. The only reason I was allowed to watch on TV Top of the Pops was because I told, it was right after Tomorrow's Word, which is a science program, and I told my mum, oh, Mama, after I've watched my dose of educational science, may I watch Top of the Pops to look at the interesting lighting equipment they have on display? And she said, oh, okay then. And it was like, yay, pop music. Pussycat Dolls, not really sure. Keep in mind, we've also got virtual performers these days. Started off in Japan. Oh, no, it didn't. There was the cartoon band. What was that? Gorillas. They didn't really show the cast, the band members much. I think they may have appeared in outline in the video though. Milli Vanilli went to pick up their award and then had the award taken back off them. But all performers mime. Yeah, it's the easiest thing to do. I mean, if you've got a live performance at a music ceremony, there's a good chance the performer is just miming because it's really fucking hard. Having someone walking all over a stage actually, and the risk of them going out of sync and the feedback, because there's a delay from the speakers come back to ear. Thank you, Mr. Planet Man. Much appreciated. Thanks for all the live streams. You're welcome. They've been going on for a long time now. So a lot of miming gets done, but on certain events, notably, well, the Edinburgh 2, there's no miming, but sometimes certain instruments are swapped in because violins don't work in the rain. So when you've got the fiddlers in playing their violins, they'll use stunt violins in the rain and they just feign playing them. They'll play them as if they were actually playing them, but it has to be piped over because, well, violins don't work in the rain. The resin doesn't work in the strings. But other things that's interesting about the tattoo is that certain parts that are time code controlled and the click track gets sent to one of the conductors who then leads his section of the musicians, and you've got a lot of performers and the others sync to that. It's fucking complex. It's one of the most complex shows. Without even realizing it, I didn't realize how complex the tattoo audio is. It's ridiculous. Liberace was sued for being gay after his death because he basically took action against people who claimed he was gay. And he said he wasn't. Wasn't a singer embarrassed once for your mime to the wrong song? That happens. Ariana Welland. And one was it the final countdown. Who did the final countdown? It's the final count. Diddly doo diddly. And they played the backing track at the wrong speed. It was all a completely different pitch. The wet wood and warp will ruin a violinist day, indeed. Have I ever mimed? No. Violin rosin is the same as electrical flux. I just think it is just rosin. Do the stunt violins shoot flames? No, but we have considered putting LEDs on them so they could in the future. Vince, the crew chief, experimented with a bow, and he had the flame effect running up the bow because it was addressable LEDs. But because of the number of LEDs he went for and the fact it was 5 volt and all addressable, like completely, it was like addressable per pixel, the current ended up huge. And it was quite a big cable dangling off the bow. But he sent me some test video footage that I cannot share with you. But it was good effects. It was sparkling all over the bow, and then it was flames running up it. It was pretty good effect. But it looked big. But then that's what happens. Thank you, Paul Norman. Much appreciated. I love my tech family on here. You're all great, and you're helping me over a bit of a low time in my life with my health. Thank you, Clive and family. You are welcome. It's the frantic shutdown. What? Do you know, one time I woke up in the morning and I'd like really deep sleep, and as I woke up, I was in a nightclub and it was playing the final countdown, but it was a really thumping dance version of it. And as I walked out of the nightclub and along a corridor, it just faded into the background. But it was like and I woke up, I was thinking, that was a really great track. It doesn't actually work. I've heard dance versions of Final Countdown, and it doesn't actually work because of the timing. But at that, in the dream, it was fantastic. Could you put a buck converter in the bow? That would be getting even more complex to feed it higher voltage. My suggestion was to use the 12-volt tape with the cluster blocks of 3, but Keith and Vince wanted the super high resolution. They wanted that detail, but I try and talk him back from the resolution and get the current down to make it sensible. It's much easier. Like that's what we used in the dresses of the performers, the divas, on the last tattoo, where they had LED tape and it was RF controlled, but it was 12-volt tape run off the 12-volt battery packs. Anything interesting this week? Not really. The most exciting thing was my chips and chili today at the bowling alley. They were dancing divas. Well, they just did that sort of airy-fairy thing because they couldn't really do much. They were standing in video walls, and the video walls were doing all the action, except for the fact that we had major DMX problems with the wireless DMX, and it may have been down to the fact that video walls all have switching power supplies, and that apparently can cause problems with blanking out the RF. Complex situation. Fibre optic along the bow, not bright enough. It has to be bright in a sort of like a stadium sort of stuff. I once had a dream of a death metal version of Money, Money, Money. I bet that exists, Raven Looney. Ever woke up and had the urge to shart? No. Jaeger, Jack Attack. There is no Jaeger at this point in time. The Jaeger was had on the hour. Nobody's playing the bowling at the bowling alley. Very quiet. They were playing the air hockey, the air puck game. Would a wireless microwave oven interrupt wireless DMX? It could, Monkey Man, here on a borderline signal. My printer used to be next to the microwave oven. If the microwave oven was cooking, it swamped the Wi-Fi because it's 2.4 gigahertz, and it used to stop printing until the microwave went bing, and then the printer would start again. Have I ever tried candlepin bowling? We don't have candlepin bowling here, standard deviation. It's not a common thing. It's all 10-pin bowling. I don't know of any other bowling system we've used here in the UK. Wireless DMX is 2.4 gigahertz. Some of it is. A lot of it uses just standard frequencies. Monkey Man here. Certainly the stuff we use in the 2 did. And it's busy, but having said that, the audio department were also using 2.4 gigahertz and no problems. Then the company, I featured this in a video, then the company came back afterwards, I don't know if I mentioned this bit, and said, but there was a bug in our software, that the mode you had it in, that basically it was losing, but I think they were just making excuses. It was a bit of an experience. Check the screen in your microwave. It's fine, Poochmax. It's just basically they'll always creep a little 2.4 gigahertz out, even across the wiring. Not even Kegelbahn, we don't. Thomas, now see, Kegelin and Kegelbahn, there's bowling in Europe that is nothing like American bowling. It's a bit like 10-pin bowling, but you know how like the string setters are coming with the strings? They've always been string setters, and they've got strange things. They have dry lanes that aren't oiled. They have angled lanes. They have curved lanes. It's very strange. But they're all very... they're very simple bowling systems. They're very compact, and it's a loud spectator sport. We're talking like 10-pin bowling, right? But with air horns and shouting and chanting like a football match. It's very strange. Type in Kegelen or Kegeln on YouTube and you'll find it. America, bowling equal ruined. It's not phonautical. The string setters are the only viable option in the future now, because it's becoming too hard to maintain. It's expensive to maintain the free fall pin setters. They're very expensive machines. In the first place, they're very heavy. They're very power hungry, very noisy. and they require a maintenance engineer, technically competent maintenance engineer to fix them. Kegel, the pregnancy exercises, yes, for tightening up your vagina, that is correct. Kegeln. Yappy Fox, I used to play Bolingo way back in the day. I loved Bolingo. Do you know, you're not going to like this, Yappy Fox. I used to bowl with intent to tangle the strings. I used to power bowl Bolingo. I never managed to cause any damage, though. I did manage to get a string tie up once. I liked Bolingo. I liked it a lot. It was a good game. And that's the way it's all gone. Mendes joining force with Cubica and then to AMF, and that's what the new machines are. And they're quite neat, I have to say. Even if the purists don't approve of them, they're very reliable. They've the downtime, the requirement of technical staff is much lower. I've never seen the string resetter lock watcher. Just type in string setter on YouTube and you'll see them. Some are good and some are bad. Basically speaking, all the pins have a string on top of them, and it pulls them all back up into guides so they just align, and then when it drops them down, the ones that are not come down, a little ramp comes in and just locks in as they go down. But the purists say that the strings tangle other pins and it knocks other ones down. To a degree it does. Clive, you were supposed to bowl underarm. I did, but I bowled so forcefully when I was on holiday that, you know that thing you've been to the gym and you've had a workout and then a few days later it's like muscle pain. I could hardly walk. With the right leg was so sore because I'd been really whapping the ball along it. Glasgow has a new bowling alley in the city centre in it's not the Savoy. It's the St. Eyre shopping centre. It's called Level X. It's a family entertainment centre with those garish LED and video panel displays. And it's got so many lanes and they always seem to be quite busy. They're string setters. Clive must have bowling swing like a softball pitch. I can throw a lot of power behind those balls. The balls were so heavy they made your legs hurt. Jeffrey Waldo, the balls were smaller than a traditional bowling ball, but they were being delivered at low level horizontally along the bowling alley to the point that this elderly couple, this woman shouted over, "You're not supposed to smash them with the ball." It's like, well, fucking mind your own business, bitch. I love Edinburgh, but one of my daughters is at Edinburgh College of Art. Acolyte. So that's, I love Edinburgh, but one of my daughters is at Edinburgh College of Art. Does that mean because you're then forced to visit her, or is it because you realise how expensive that is for a career that may be in jeopardy with Midjourney? I can't believe the images that Midjourney is putting out. Someone posted a picture. They'd obviously typed in like guy with beard in hazmat suit, and the details were just ridiculous. So ridiculously detailed. It had clad him in what looked like a yellow hazmat suit, but then a clear, transparent one over the top of it. And all the colour and the light and everything was just correct. Fantastic. No, Clive, I go there because I want to. That's all right then. Don't go during the fringe, though, because it's really expensive, unless you can stay with your daughter, because it is expensive. And those little rooms, the university rooms are not designed for more than one person. They're almost designed to make it hard for two people to fit in one, in case people try and cheat and stay free. Tell us again about the time you tried electrically stimulating muscles. That has been done many times, including deliberately, with 240 volt and a resistor, trying to trip the RCD for the house with electrode pads in the leg just to see what it felt like at 30 milliamps. It didn't feel that much. It was just a sharp tap before it tripped. Quite impressive. Acolyte, awesome artist. Indeed. In the US, bowling resets are quite complicated. The pin setters, they are a lot more. There's a few different types. The string setter is not complicated. The bowling alley here is a couple of the robot waiters. That kind of makes sense, Shane. I always pay attention once the and bowled while the barrier was down. I had to go and get member of staff. If it hits it will shut the thing down if it hits the sweep bar. That doesn't happen with the string setters. It just knocks the flap up and the ball just smashes under the pins, and it will detect they've not gone down properly, and it will just lift and drop them again. You can't break them. Is it woofle time? Blimey, that was fast, wasn't it? Anyway, woofle time, and then the stream will end. But I'll be back next week. I'll be back on Thursday from Glasgow for the patrons, and then on Saturday from Glasgow, if everything goes to plan, for the regulars the Saturday crowd. Woofling. Work has been done on my flat while I was away. This is good. I had a problem with the roof. This should have been fixed now, hopefully. Woofling. Which will be a weight off my mind. It's been preying on my mind a bit because it was a semi-structural thing. Hopefully they've done it right. That's never guaranteed. Oh, there's Grant. Grant, are you still in Glasgow at the moment? You've got a stain above that. Yes, there is, Mike and Co. There is a stain on the ceiling. Just to see what's going on. I'll be in Glasgow on Thursday. Drop me an email, Grant, and we can maybe meet for a coffee. If you're in the city centre, roughly. Anyway, until then, the stream is coming to an end, and I shall catch you next week. Have a good week, and have fun.